Welcome to this episode of the Conscious Business Coffee Break, where we take a few moments to explore what's happening in the conscious business movement, expand your awareness, and encourage your efforts in conscious business. Greetings, everyone. I'm Stephen Donaco of the Conscious Business Enterprise, a division of Humanities team. And today on the program, we're going to talk about the evolution from sustainability to flourishing. And in the context of conscious business, one of our faculty members in the Conscious Business Enterprise program, Chris Laszlo, is really passionate about this subject and has written materials and done presentations, and he delivers a module in our course, the Conscious Business Change Agent Certification Program, on the concept of flourishing. And let's just say more than a concept, it's a yearning, it's a need to be a whole human being, a human being that realizes wholeness. And so let's talk about this in the context of conscious business and the evolution to flourishing. If we go back to in business to the middle of the 20th century, from the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s, the benevolence of business was realized primarily through regulatory compliance. That the government made regulations, laws that caused business to comply so that it would not do harmful things to the environment, society, and so forth. And those things are those laws and regulations are important. They're not everything, of course, because just as much as business is subject to the laws of the land, it also lobbies to have those changed in its favor. So then, as we evolve, we get into the 80s and the 90s, and business evolves to what might be called strategic environmentalism. So business developing environmental policies or strategies so that it can comply, but also so that it starts to becoming conscious of its impact on the planet. And it's also responding to an increasing number of customers who are beginning to demand that business behave responsibly in the world. So it's not just environmentalism, but it's qualified by calling it strategic environmentalism. So there's still this, like, what's in it for business? We're environmentalist because it's good for business, okay? And then we evolve further into the 2000s and into the 2010s, and now we get into this idea of sustainability, and this is taking it another step further, and business now adopts sustainable programs in further recognition of its impact on the planet, further recognition that people are demanding that business take responsibility for the impact it has on the planet, on society, and we get into the idea of sustainability. So let's stop there for a moment before we get to flourishing. And sustainability is often related to the idea of doing less harm. Okay, so if our natural resources such as materials, water, energy, and the emissions from all those things, from using all those things, do a certain amount of harm to the environment, and sustainability in business is often about doing less harm. So the strategies for sustainability include reducing the resources that are used, avoiding doing harm or avoiding using certain resources where possible, minimizing and preventing, minimizing the use of resources and preventing things from happening. So sustainability then is about, you might say it's almost a scarcity thinking, that let's do less harm, and we're also inherent in that is assuming, well, there's a certain amount of harm that is necessary in order to do business. Okay, so sustainability takes us so far, but it's not the most evolved way. And if we're looking at conscious business, we get into now the realm of flourishing. And this is what's emerging now, and it's been emerging since the last few years, and now getting a lot more conscious attention in business. And it's has a ways to go. Nevertheless, here we are. And flourishing is really this idea, this sense, this realization that we are all interconnected and interdependent, that doing business on Earth, we're doing business in an ecosystem, and it's all connected, and we really can't separate one thing from another. So where in the sustainable world, we were concerned in business with shareholder and stakeholder value. As we evolve to flourishing, we are looking at, well, how does business contribute to a greater good or the greatest good, right? It's not about doing less harm, but now it's about generativity and caring, and then ultimately wholeness. So this is where the idea of flourishing comes in. So flourishing isn't just about the environment or the planet, but it's also about being invested in the flourishing of individuals, the people who work in business, and people who support business as customers. So Martin Seligman had created this model, 5 ingredients to a flourishing life. And I'm going to further generalize that out to include and have us think about these ingredients for a flourishing business. And I'll post a link to this in the comments to the video after we're done. But the 5 ingredients to a flourishing life are, one, it's in the model is called PERMA, P-E-R-M-A. And the first one is positive emotions, the experience of happiness, joy, hope, love, gratitude, etc. And for a flourishing life, positive emotions absolutely makes sense. Well, can we have those positive emotions in the course of doing business? And why shouldn't we? Because it's part of our lives. The second one is engagement, using our strengths to meet challenges in the moment. And we can take this out into business and ask, how do we engage with others, that our coworkers, leadership, our customers, having positive engagement beyond just our families and communities, but doing it in our workplaces, which is oftentimes in the current model of business, it's the last place we want to develop relationships, because a lot of us want to get the job done and then go home at 5. And the last thing we're interested in often is engaging with the people we work with. And why not? Why isn't that? Why shouldn't we be interested in those people? Because we spend so much time with them. The next is our relationships, right? So engagement, using our strengths to meet challenges, and then relationships, furthering the connections with others in our lives and in business. And then the M is meaning, connecting to meaning. What does it mean to live? What does it mean to live this life on Earth, to be embodied in these vessels that cart us around, that animate us? And meaning is something that a lot of us don't find in business, and in conscious business, we're seeking that. And then the final ingredient to flourishing life, accomplishment. And of course, this is where business really has been focused traditionally, is this always this push for accomplishment, whether it's in accomplishment by creating better products and services. Of course, profit making is really a big emphasis on accomplishment, and that's where business that's what business is good at traditionally. But now, for a flourishing business, let's build in these other aspects of positive emotions, engagement, relationships, and meaning, and let's all evolve together and co-create business as a force for the greatest good in the world. So I will put a couple of these links in the comments, like I mentioned. Apologize for some of um, the less clear audio. Sometimes that happens with the connection that I have here, but hopefully most of this got through okay. So, but again, I'll put some links in the comments so that you can take a look at these things that I've been referring to. In the meantime, we're on again Friday at 9 a.m. Central U.S. time for another edition of the Conscious Business Coffee Break. Thank you to Fluid Coffee Bar in Valparaiso, Indiana, for giving me a table to do the program. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on Friday.